Welcome to the Know Your Learning Powers channel. My name is Christina Pickett, and I'm the creator of the educational program Know Your Learning Powers, which helps students develop the social and emotional skills necessary to understand what success looks like for them. This channel serves as a resource for parents, educators, and stakeholders to support students on their journey of self discovery. So please hit the subscribe button, like the content, and share with your community. All righty. So here I want to make sure I got everybody on board here. All right. So today our guest is Angela Cantrell. She is a SEL practitioner and mentor coordinator with Atlantic Cares Mentor Movement, an affiliate of the Atlantic Cares Mentor Movement. She so gracefully came by today so we can talk about the impact of social and emotional learning in our schools, and specifically Angela's journey as a mentor and training up mentors and mobilizing adults to serve as mentors to our underserved youth with Atlanta Cares Movement. So, welcome, Angela, and thank you for being here with us today. Can you hear me?
Look, I'm having a little
Angela, can
delay,
you
but
hear me?
I can.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Yes. How are you today, Angela? Thank you for being here with us today.
You're welcome. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you
Yeah,
for
Angela.
having me.
So I so appreciate it. And Angela and I, we met in this quest of, social and emotional learning and supporting our youth. And one thing I wanted to point out is that relationship skills are one of the social and emotional learning competencies. So within mentoring, that's a huge skill that allow our youth and our young adults to really establish those positive relationships and get to know more about themselves. So let's start off with Angela. Tell us about how you got involved in the space of social and emotional learning and your work with schools and nonprofits.
I got involved with social emotional learning. I think I really began to delve, dive into it when I was at school system here in Georgia, where I was serving as the in-school suspension, in-school suspension teacher. And
Mm-hmm.
what I found is that the students needed more than just punishment. They needed support. So I changed the class into an in-school intervention room. So when the students came to me, I worked with them with their homework, trying to get to the root cause of what their problem, what their angst was, because I don't, it's not necessarily a problem or what's bothering them for that day. So I worked on, I that's how I transformed the room. That space. Well, let me start back from the beginning. I started working in public education as a tutor, a Title I tutor, and a parent-teacher liaison at elementary school. So I had a little bit of the bug there, and I decided that I didn't really want to be an educator. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to work in the school system per se, just based on the structure of it.
Yeah.
Uh, but God had other plans, and I was pulled back into it anyway. So I've spent over the years, I've spent time working in 4 different public school systems, all Title I schools. And in that space, I realized that the nurturing of the students was missing. Instead
Mm,
of focusing on, making sure they learn this, well, they need some support emotionally.
yeah.
Fast forward to being at the school district here in Georgia in that position is when I had an opportunity to put a name to what the format that I knew was important or actually worked for the child, which is
Yes.
social emotional learning. That's how I was
Mm-hmm.
introduced to it, being in that space. I said, oh, okay, so there's a name for this social emotional learning. Oh, these are the components for it. And then I got my certification. Well, not certification, I had training and
Uh-huh.
certificate in that. And then
Yep.
I moved into ACEs, restorative practice, trauma informed practices, and all of those things together, you know, just building them out, working them together. Um,
I appreciate that. No, it really did bring back some of my beginnings in this space. And
mhm,
just what you said, when my experience really was when I was in a started teaching. I was in the classroom and I was like
mhm,
25. I was young. So I'm
mhm,
like, okay, Title One school, how am I going to connect to the students? You
mhm.
know, you want to be successful. You want to put your best foot forward. So just recollecting, even fast forwarding 20 years from now, that was the name of it. They just needed more nurturing. They needed that social and emotional learning. That
Yes,
was the foundational piece that many educators, teachers, what have you, people in the schools miss. Not so much anymore, but they miss that piece. And it's like you can't really go too much further until you connect and develop those relationships with your students. So I definitely do agree and can connect to that. And like you said, put a name to it.
right.
It's
Put a
social.
name to it. But I want to push back just a little bit because you'll be
Mm,
surprised that there's a lot of educators who still miss that component.
mm,
You know, because what I found is that I needed to find out why these students were misbehaving or acting up or whatever reason they came to me.
yeah.
I needed to find out what was going on with them. And oftentimes they were hungry, hadn't
Mhm.
eaten, or they had, they started off on a bad foot at home. Their living environment didn't support the nurturing and the attention required to come to school and learn.
Yeah.
So that's what pulled me in, getting to the
That's what
root
pulled you.
cause to that trauma, you
Yeah,
know.
getting to
And
the root cause because that was your job. Eventually, that's kind of what were some of the positions you had. You had to get to that root cause so
right,
they can see a result or some type of outcome. I
right,
appreciate that.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So they wouldn't come back.
So they wouldn't come back. There you go.
So they wouldn't come back. But they came back anyway.
They
They
came
came
back
back
in a
just
sense.
they came back to visit. They came back for the love. They didn't come,
They
not so much for the classroom stuff, but yeah.
I no, they did come back. They do come back. They're part of you're a mentor at that point.
Yes,
How
I
about it?
am.
Yeah,
Yes, I am. Yeah.
because they look to you and come to you for guidance. Same when I was in the classroom, they came to me for guidance or just to have that safe space. Because that
Right,
is a lot of it too, just having a safe
right.
space to feel
Absolutely.
understood
Hmm.
and be able to connect. And even from my approach of knowing your learning powers, students have to connect to their learning. What that looks like is different for everyone, right?
Yes.
But just having that connection allows them to feel comfortable on how they're approaching education and what they're learning about in the classroom.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Providing that safe space.
having that safe
Yeah.
space.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, tell us about the Atlantic Cares mentoring movement because that's how we connected. I was very interested in this program and its affiliate membership. So if you could take some time to tell the audience about this amazing program that is here in Atlanta and across the nation, I would greatly appreciate it.
Right. Well, Atlanta Cares Mentoring Movement, we are one of 58 affiliates who fall under the National Cares Mentoring Movement. National Cares was founded in 2005 by Susan Taylor, who is the former editor in chief of Essence Magazine. It was a call to action where she wanted to galvanize the community uh, to support our youth.
Hmm.
Our motto is to mentor a child, save a life. And as an affiliate, which is different from what the National Cares does, National Cares has a couple programs that fall up underneath them. They have HBCU Rising, which is also here in Atlanta. They have the uh, Rising program, which is mentoring that's in the class that's actually in the school system.
Okay.
And then they have Universal Parents, which is also I'm also a part of. uh, Universal Parents. I teach a course, facilitate a course.
Now, question for you. You list all these programs specifically for the universal parents.
Universal
Can people
Parents.
say that again? I'm sorry.
I said university for parents. Yes,
University for parents. Can
yes,
parents from other states join that? How does that work?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Because we're virtual, so the
Okay.
classes are on there. They're 10-week courses, and they cover a multiple subjects in like graphic design, anger
Mhm.
management, and my course is interior decorating for mental wellness. And then they have a reading circle, but everything is um, through National Cares. I would say they focus on 10 pillars. I
Okay.
won't go through all those pillars. I would encourage everyone to please go and do your research on National Cares. It's a great organization. That's kind of why I'm here. And Atlanta Cares, please. But what I wanted to say is the difference between Atlanta Cares as an affiliate and National Cares. National Cares, when they recruit mentors,
Okay.
they they house those mentors. But the affiliates, when we recruit mentors, and then we refer and place them into our partner organizations, kind of like what I did with you.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Understood.
yes, yes.
Okay. So what are some of the impacts or experience what have you experienced being a part of the Atlantic Cares mentoring movement? Just
Oh,
for people who may be interested. Yeah, just give us maybe two or three things that you experienced that impact working with other or partnering with other organizations. I know that has to be very plentiful in the sense that you're having you're meeting so many different people, making great connections, and just driving this work. That's what's so amazing about it too. And I appreciate us developing this relationship because driving this work is not easy and we cannot do it alone. So the partnerships that we create are paramount. So if you could
right,
talk a bit about that.
right. Well, um, Atlanta Cares, we have a STEM Fest that happens every year. This year in February will be the 11th annual STEM Fest
Okay.
that happens at Georgia Tech. And there's over 300 middle and high school students that come together, and they have an opportunity to select three sessions,
Hmm.
three classes that they're interested in, or
Yeah.
three, what's the word I'm looking for?
Workshop sessions.
Workshops. Yes, thank you very
Okay.
much.
Hmm.
Thank you very much. That I was getting lost for a second.
No worries.
And um, they have an opportunity to do that, and it's an all-day event. It's fantastic. The kids, that I won't say kids, but the children
Youth and
and the
children.
adults, because we even have workshops for the adults while their child is doing something, then they're able to gain some knowledge as well. And there's the Summer STEM Academy, which
Hmm.
happens on a college campus. Previously it was at Morehouse, and this year coming up is actually going to be at Georgia. Oh my goodness, Miss Coleman is going to kill
Uh,
me.
Southern Georgia
No,
or
no, no, not Georgia. I don't want to say Georgia Tech, but it's Atlanta Technical College. It's
okay.
the one that's off of University Drive.
Yep. That's where it's
And
going to be held this year.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. And what else? We also have a book club, which meets once a month, and that's for middle school kids. And this book club, the books are focused on STEM. Everything is STEM related: science, technology, engineering, and math. Is to get the
Hmm.
students, uh, acclimated to reading, encourage them to read, and learn and discover about Black inventors and
Yeah.
creatives in that area. But another one thing I will say about the book club is the students who sign up, the books are free. So
Oh
they
wow.
end up, yeah, the books, they sign up and become, once they're a part of the program, Miss Coleman orders the books and she sends them out. So,
Hmm.
you know, within a year or however long the school, however many months we have it, they're starting to collect their own library so
Yes.
that they can still come back to those books. It's not just that they come and they read every month, but they have that book and they're
They're
creating their own library.
I love that.
Yeah,
No, that's so important. That's so important. Now, just asking because we are in the world of technology, do they have access or have you guys incorporated like audiobooks for some cases or thinking about it?
I know, but you know
Okay.
what? That's in my notes. I love to take
Yeah.
notes. I'm
Just
going.
so you know, because everybody learns a little differently. The practice of reading is very important. I mean,
Yes,
that's first and foremost, but just something to think about kind of for students who may struggle with reading, but trying to get better and become more aware and still not shying away from it. That could be a bridge, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes.
absolutely, absolutely. Although I would say personally, I believe in the touch and the texture and the physical aspect of reading and learning. Even still,
Yes,
now,
even
I if I get and I'm writing notes.
I
I
know.
want
I
to
still
see
have a
it. I
notebook.
want to write it.
I
So
still have a notebook.
right,
But I do still see myself trying to go to a different practice and kind of keeping
right,
my notes and different things. But everyone one has a preference.
right. But,
And
but but like you said, I'm sorry to cut you off, but just like you
no, no,
said, we have to meet them where they are.
yeah,
If
I
that's what
mean,
they're learning at, if that's where, how they learn is audible, then as long as they're learning, as
right.
long as they're,
And making the connection.
yes,
That's what matters.
that's
I
what
love
matters.
that. And then the university for parents, same thing in a sense, or there's just the parents sign up for that.
Just the parents.
Okay.
This is strictly for the parents. Now, the universal parents, it also has community events,
Okay.
and because it's about the community.
Yes, it
So
is.
so the it's the community um that we're focused on. But what we do know is that in support of our children,
Hmm.
while we're supporting our children, it it gets lost if we're not supporting the parent, because we have to support the household. It's like taking a child and filling them up with all of this information and then sitting them someplace where information gets lost or can't be used or is
Mm,
pushed back. So we want to educate those parents and give them those resources to be better parents, be better themselves, and for their wellness.
yes, that's what
Yes,
it's
it's for their
for.
wellness. It's we the pillars. I don't want to go through all of them, but stress, um, wellness, creativity, community. You know, that's
Hmm.
that's the focus. That's the foundation
That's the
of. I
foundation.
wanted to say not just university for parents, but for all of the programming
Mm,
that comes through National Cares.
yes,
Yeah,
it's very important.
right.
Okay, so thank you for that. I appreciate just giving a more deeper dive into what the organization is about, the various programming,
Right.
and I will leave in the description of this live. I don't believe it's there now, but I will go back and put Atlantis Care's website and even a QR code. Angela, you say you'll provide me with so people can get in contact and sign up
Yeah.
or just ask more questions, get more information.
Oh, you can follow us on Instagram.
There we go.
Atlanta Cares Mentoring on Instagram, and keep up with what we have going on, and even our
Yeah,
partners or what's going on in the community, other resources that may be beneficial.
yeah, I didn't think about that. Thank you. Social
You're
media.
welcome. Yes.
Yes. So I wanted to ask as well, too, another one of my questions, the importance of mentorship and its impact. I mean, we know every child should have a mentor. We do view teachers, like I was talking about earlier, people within our schools as mentors. However, a more conscious way of having mentors is one just selected for that individual, for that student or that young adult or that new professional, that young professional, because we see it a lot too in our professional workforce as well. But just the impact that you've seen, and then some practices, some best practices or do's or don'ts when it comes to this space of being a mentor.
Uh, well, I will say, and quite honestly, I cannot
Mhm.
say, I can't quantify, give you a number of,
Mhm.
how it impacts, well, where this child is, well, right offhand. I do have
Right.
those facts. We do have that those statistics are out there, but I can say personally that I know, Eve, spending time with a child, um, and pouring into them with positive energy and compassion, it makes a difference. It just, I don't even have to. I'm getting caught up because I start getting emotional when I start talking about the babies. Um, just think about yourself.
Mm.
How important or impactful it is for you to have someone pour into you with positivity, especially if you're in an environment where that's a rarity. You
Mhm.
know,
Right.
that those small things make a difference. And best practice, well, I would say best practices of mentoring, is to be consistent, to have we always say to listen, but I would
Mhm.
say to active listening. That active listening is important because we sometimes we hear and we listen, but to actively listen means that you're listening and you're processing the information and you're trying to come up with something to help support them in whatever they're going through,
Yeah.
and not just listening to say, okay, well, I heard you, and then put them on their way. You want to be able to respond back with some antidotes, and not necessarily telling them what to do, but asking them questions and kind of guiding them into a direction, that's going to be more beneficial for them and be supportive for them. I don't know if I said it, compassion is a big part of it. Being
Mhm.
empathetic and
Yes.
non-judgmental. Non-judgmental, because often as adults we think we know everything. We think we know what's best for the child, but if we haven't experienced everything that child has experienced or been in their shoes, it's
Mhm.
impossible for us to tell them. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I say you have to ask questions. Uh,
I love those. Yes. Ask
yeah,
questions. And what is that when people project? Right.
yeah,
That's why listening is so important, that active listening, because many times as adults, if we've been through something and we observe a child and we think they're going through something similar or come from a
hmm,
similar background, we may have the tendency to project or judge what we've been through and project that on them, and telling, like you said, to your point of telling them what they should do. But really, we don't necessarily, everybody's experience is different in some way, shape, or form, even if they're in a different geographical area. You know what I mean? But it's
hmm,
not the same experience because it's a different person. So that active listening, I even know with my own children, it's you have to really listen to them and have them talk, like you said, or ask questions, because
right.
when they start telling you their experience, because it's their experience, then it'll allow you to kind of develop a more accurate perception of what they may be going through.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just want to touch on this briefly. I was listening to someone speak. I was watching I don't know, I was on Instagram and, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, a live. I was on a
Well,
live,
yeah.
and
Okay.
someone said that it that the children's behavior, the way they behave, that's like a disease. And I
Mm,
had to push back. It's not a disease. This is trauma.
yeah.
And we have to, and especially in our community, we don't want to recognize that oh, it was good for me, it's good for them. Well, actually, it was not good for us. It really was not.
Mm,
We were just forced to manage and deal with our trauma.
I like
And
that. Yeah.
it, yeah, but it shows up in our life
Every day,
unexpectedly, in different
unexpectedly,
ways.
in
In
different
different
ways.
ways, yes, yes. Especially if it's
What-
not addressed or not acknowledged.
Yeah,
So
I
that's why it's
when I
important to catch the kids when they're young, so that they don't
yes,
end up
that
like
is
us
true.
at an age trying just not figuring out we what? That's trauma.
That's trauma. That's trauma. We don't want to admit it because sometimes it's coming from the same family line, when we're dealing with
Yes.
our children or nieces or nephews, things of that nature, or
Hmm.
people within our community. So we try to make it less than really what it is. Like we don't call it
Right.
for what we see it. And then, we get upset if somebody else does, but we do have to take a step back sometimes and really evaluate or just check ourselves like, okay, how am I did I go through something, that trauma that is not
Right.
allowing me to listen or to be open minded to ask them questions. So it is
Hmm.
it's a lot for any individual to deal with. That's why mentoring is so serious and people are apprehensive, right? I guess
Right.
at the start, right? I hear many stories, people say that they were asked to be a mentor. They're like, why should I be a mentor? Because they don't necessarily even view themselves that way as someone who can give that caring, empathetic, um, comfort, safe space to others. But we all
Right.
can, we all have something to
Right.
give, and we have to really understand that everyone has something to give. It's just that if you're willing to and you're open. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone has something to give if you're willing to and you're open or seek the support yourself. And
Yeah.
like we were talking before we came on, and I said we're gonna say that for later, but mentoring, it doesn't take a lot of time. Even for us, we ask for our mentors to commit to 1 hour a week. That's 4 hours a month. So it doesn't take a lot of time, but what it does take is commitment
Hmm.
and follow through. Because you don't want to start a relationship with a child who is already struggling with building a relationship
Right.
to abandon them. You don't want to create the same cycle that they're probably already experiencing. That's why they need a mentor. But
Yeah.
it's good for everyone to have a mentor at some
That's
point
a
in
great
life,
point.
even as a child. For it doesn't have to just necessarily be emotional support. It can be for a job or a
Hmm.
career path. You
To
you
gain
know.
some
So
access. Yeah.
yes, yes, yeah. It's just
Hmm.
reaching back,
Just
caring about
reaching
other
back. Like,
people,
yeah.
serving what we're all here to do.
Serving. Yes. Yep. Serving.
Yes,
Just reaching back and helping. I always like that you say it doesn't take a lot of time. It's just a commitment. And the impact that
yes,
it makes is much greater. Just giving
yes.
that small amount of time of yourself to really, and I always see it helps the other person, the mentee, just as much as it helps the mentor.
Oh,
Excuse
absolutely.
me, the mentee and the mentor, they're both getting something out of the relationship. Both getting something, and they even have like bi-directional mentoring as well. For that reason, everybody's getting something from the relationship, so everybody has that accountability of being consistent and those various competencies like actively listening, following through, because at the end, you're both receiving that impactful relationship that you'll always have. That you'll always have.
Yes, you know what I was gonna say. What it does
Mm.
is hit on that very first component of SEL,
Mm.
self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Yep. Each and
Self-awareness.
every day.
Each and every day. I tell you that being a mentor, even for the students, it was so difficult for me to leave. It was one of the hardest decisions I had to make, was to leave them, because I had a student who would come see me every morning before she went to class. Even when she was
Mhm.
late to school, she had to come by and see me first. And the decision to leave
Mhm.
because they wanted to shift how I actually interacted with them, it was very difficult, because I looked forward to her coming every morning.
Yes.
As much as she
Yes.
looked forward to coming to see me, I looked forward to her. And then when
Yes.
she didn't, I went through the hallways looking for
Yeah,
her.
where's she at?
You know,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. They didn't. She
Where's
didn't
she
come to school. What you? It's quite a few of them that I would go and I would look for, because I knew that they were looking for me,
at?
and
Mhm.
it filled me up. It was they were the reason why I was there. It was for the students. It had nothing to do with the school system Absolutely
Wow.
nothing. It was all
That's
the
it.
children.
That's it.
That's it.
I love it.
Mhm.
I love it because it's so such simple contributions that we give daily, and it's reciprocated. So simple,
Yeah.
simple, but does give so much back to the individual, to both everyone involved. So I want to thank
Yes.
you, Angela. Is there anything else that you didn't share or want to share with the audience before we end the call or end the live? I know sometimes things get away from you, but anything else you want to say? You said the
Um,
Instagram. I'm going to make sure I drop
yes.
the website. And
Website. Yes. I just encourage people to, even if I don't know, where the audience is, if you're not, it doesn't have to be Atlanta, look up National
Mhm.
Cares. I'm sure there's an affiliate somewhere near you. There is 58 of them across the country. You can find one
Yeah.
that's close to you and just get involved. And if you don't really want to commit that much time, find a child that's in your proximity that you can support when you see that they need support. And that doesn't mean trying to tell them what to do in their life. Just support
Yep.
them. Just support them in their
And
journey.
listen to them.
Because listen to them.
Yeah.
Please listen to them. Because you can
Yeah.
learn so much if you close your mouth and listen. They will teach you
Hmm.
a few things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
never too
thank you
old to learn.
again. Yes, yes,
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it because it needs to be reiterated. Just like you telling me, it doesn't take a lot of time. People need to hear that again because sometimes we get lost and caught up in our everyday and things that are going on in our lives. But it's something that adults really need to consider if it's something that you haven't necessarily took the time to look into and do. Well, thank you,
Right.
Angela, so much for your time. I
You're
appreciate
welcome. You're
your
welcome. Thank
partnership.
you.
So excited to continue this work with the Atlanta Cares Mentoring Movement and just our work in SEL. Thanks everyone for getting on the line. I will definitely, this will be a recording and back up on the site with the necessary information to contact myself or Angela about this conversation with Atlanta's Care, Know Your Learning Powers. So thanks again and enjoy the rest of the day and have a wonderful weekend.